Hey guys, Guitar Slam here with another deck list for you. Before I begin with the deck list, I would like to tell you guys that I am trying to sell some of my decks online. Now, I have two decks for sale. We have Gladiator Beasts and Light Sworns. Both decks will be full when I sell them to you. PM me if you guys are interested. My only thing is, even though I've never traded on YouTube before, I would like to send second. And if that bothers you guys, I'm sorry, but that's what I really like to do. But if you're still interested in trying to buy these decks from me, PM me and we'll work out an offer. I don't really want cards, I really just prefer cash. But if you PM me, we'll talk all about it. So moving on to the actual deck list, I'm going to be showing you guys a deck list of a deck that I ran at Regionals the other week. And I went 5-3-1, and yes, I managed to tie. It's kind of a weird system. But I want to show you guys a deck. It's for the March 2010 ban list. I haven't updated it yet, so let me just begin. We start off with 6 gadgets. This is going to be Gadget. This is not Machina. This is going to be Gadget Oppression. So in case you guys don't know what how Gadget Oppression functions, you use your 6 gadgets here to constantly have monsters in your hand so that you're able to really always have a monster to attack your opponent with, and if you get torrentialed or whatever, you still get your monster. So you get to keep searching and constantly applying pressure on your opponents while stopping their plays. So those are the 6 gadgets. When we get into the other cards, we have 2 Snowman Eaters. 1900 defense. When it's flipped face up, destroy a card or a face-up monster on the field. It works when he's attacked, so your opponent attacks him, and he'll pretty much survive, and then your opponent will lose their monster. So really, 1-for-1 trading is the kind of the theme of the deck. Then you have 1 legendary Jujutsu Master, 1800 defense. When it's attacked while in defense mode, top deck your opponent's monster, slows them down. 2 DD Warrior Ladies. When it's in a battle, you can remove from play both monsters. 1-for-1 trading, messes up your opponent's graveyard. 1 Banisher of the Radiance. Anything that goes to the grave is removed from play instead. This stops Infernities dead in their tracks and messes with meta decks if they really need their graveyard, so it's helpful. And you don't need your grave in this deck, so it works fine. 1 Gale. Have any monsters attack in the field. Typically you want to try and use this to get around Stardust Dragon, because Stardust stops all of your destruction effects like smashings and fissures and stuff. But you can also synchro for Black Rose if you want, because you have so many level 4s. It's a level 3 tuner. 1 Kaiku. When it deals battle damage to your opponent, remove 2 cards from their grave. This is just more graveyard hate, messes with Infernities mostly. I main deck a lot against Infernities, and seems to work well. 1 Thunder King Ryo. I know stun decks run 3 of these, and I know stun has done well recently. And a lot of people would say you have to run 3. Well, I originally ran 2, and then just due to wanting other cards, I put it down to 1. And I feel like it ran well, even at 1. Like, even against X-Sabers with all their Dark Souls and different things like that. You have a lot of main decked hate against things like Searchers and different things like that. So, I felt like, and you run Oppression, so I felt like 1 Thunder King actually worked well. Now, you can easily put it to 3 if you want. A lot of people probably would. I liked it at 1. It's personal preference, really. 1 Tragodia, 600 attack for every card in your hand. You typically have a pretty big hand because you have all the gadgets that keep adding back to your hand. And special when you take battle damage, and it gets around Oppression, so it's a nice big beater for the deck. 1 Granmole, bounce any monster that this thing attacks or is attacked by. Gets rid of synchros, just messes with your opponent's big field, keeps allowing your gadgets to poke through for damage, so it's a really helpful card. In my nice tech choice, 1 Watt Giraffe, 1200 attack, and it can attack directly. And if it deals damage by attacking directly, your opponent cannot activate monster effects, spells, or traps for the rest of the turn. So this thing attacks directly, and then you attack a Dark Soul with a monster later. Dark Soul can't search in the end phase. This Watt Giraffe attacks directly. Your opponent wants to drop Force, but they can't because this thing has already dealt damage. So it really messes with your opponent, and that's the whole point of this deck. So I think it fit in well. So moving on to the spells, you run Triple Smashing Ground, 1-for-1 Monster Destruction, staple. in this kind of deck. And then 1 Fissure, same thing. Run 2 Book of Moons, messes with any tuners on the field, messes with the amount of X-Sabers on the field for like Gotham's E-Call plays or Fall Troll plays. Really valuable card. 2 D-Fissure. This is just like Banisher of the Radiance. It messes with the graveyard and really helps in an Infernity matchup. You main deck a lot against Infernities in this deck. That's just my personal preference. You don't have to. You could change it a little bit, but D-Fissure is versatile no matter what deck you're playing. 1 Heavy Storm. I know this is going to be banned in September, but really amazing card. And remember, this is still for the March ban list. Even in this kind of deck, you still want to run it. That's how good it was. And then 1 MST for Spell and Trap Destruction. You could easily put in a second one. Then we go to the traps. We have 2 Royal Oppressions. Pay 100 life points to negate any special summon. I know it goes down to 1, but you could like put in a Solemn Warning if you wanted. Just a really good card. Really helps this deck because you don't special summon at all, and meta decks special all the time. Then you run 2 Dark Bribes. Whenever a spell and trap's activated, you negate it and the opponent draws a card. It doesn't matter if your opponent draws a card with this, because if you play it at the right time, you will win the duel. Wait until the end game when your opponent needs like a Monster Reborn in this coming format, or they needed Heavy Storm in this format, and you negate it and you'll win the duel. 2 Bottomless. Staple, remove monster, 1500 more attack when it's summoned. 2 D-Prisons and a Sakuretsu Armor. Now, if I had 3 D-Prisons, this would be a D-Prison. I don't. I only have 2 right now. These are outs to Stardust Dragon, and it's a 1-for-1 destruction card. This is 1-for-1 destruction too. The only problem is it puts the monster in the grave and it destroys it. So Stardust can negate this. But other than that, honestly, it fits into the theme really well. And you just want 1-for-1 destruction, so these cards are amazing. Then we go into the staples. A Solemn, Torrential, Mirror Force, and Starlight Road. Pay half your life points to negate anything. When monsters summon, destroy all monsters. When a monster attacks, destroy all monsters in opponent's field. And if your opponent activates Heavy in this format, Dark Hole in the next format, Black Rose Dragon, negate it if it's going to destroy multiple cards in the field. And then Special Stars Dragon. So they're very helpful, and that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a good deck, and it's pretty cheap too. That's one of the things I really liked about it. It's competitive and cheap, which is something you're going to want. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck list, and remember, if you're interested, I have Light Sworns and Gladiator Beast for sale. So PM me about if you guys have interest in buying any of those. Alright, so I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.